Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Great Canadian Hockey Podcast. I think we got episode 8 now. We're almost at 12. 12 is a good stat. We got to get there. How you doing, Aidan? It's been a bit, brother. I know you're well traveled at this point. How's things?
Things are good. I know we had promised, we said a Boxing Day episode was going to come out. That didn't happen for a couple of reasons, at least on my end. Number one, a top world junior moments is something I don't want to rush through. It's something that I definitely want to do, but I want to kind of maybe back pocket it for when we could dedicate more time. And James and I couldn't dedicate the time in the last couple of weeks. And number two, we're both pretty busy, and we both just wanted to have holidays with family. So it didn't happen, but we're back, and we are back on. You'll be listening to this. If you're listening to this on the day it drops, it will be January the 3rd, which is one day after quarterfinal day and one day before semifinal day at the World Junior Hockey Championships. We will surely get into that. I'm excited for it. But James, how are you?
How am I? What a loaded question, my friend. Well, I've learned recently that I'm not a plumber. I had a little bit of a mishap and may have hurt my residence a little bit, but things are good. I'm not one to go down after a quick punch. I'm rolling through it. I say it was a punch to the chest, not the face. Like I feel like I could rebound pretty well after that. So I'm staying in high spirits, but I'm fairly weathered after trying to deal with this and keeping myself up a little bit longer than I should to do so. But all in all, I've had a pretty damn good holiday. Spent a lot of time with great people, and yeah, made a lot of memories. It should last a long time, and I think that's a pretty good way to carry into the new year. So I think without further ado, I think we've got quite a few topics for all of you hockey nerds that listen. I assume you're all hockey nerds, at least if you're paying attention to this. I couldn't if I wasn't, full honesty. But yeah, let's get it going, bro.
Yeah, so like I said, obviously, James, you're gonna get through this. I believe in you. If you don't get through this, you can always come crash with me 12 hours away. Um, obviously, yeah, quarterfinal day. I'm a big enough man to admit when I was wrong, and Thomas Milic has given me faith in Canadian goaltending once more. Obviously, it was Benjamin Gaudreau that had the tough outing against Czechia. But even when Milic played against Germany, he let in both the goals he let in. I'm looking at that. I'm thinking you're going to have to make better saves than that against Sweden and against whoever the quarterfinal opponent is and against whoever the semifinal opponent is. And I was just worried. And I voiced just, at home in the holidays, talking about hockey with the hockey family I have, just voicing the concerns about that. And I was genuinely worried. And then in back-to-back games now, he's completely shown that he is equipped for the starting goaltender route. He was very good against Sweden in a 5-1 win. When that game was 3-1, Sweden had a lot of chances to make it 3-2 and get back in the game, and he shut the door. And then obviously today, there's a lot of stories out of that Canada-Slovakia game. He's not even the most prevalent goaltending story, I think, but he was very steady. None of the goals were really his fault, and I was impressed. So he has my confidence as we move into a semifinal against the States.
I've turned into a Thomas Milic fan. I remember when Gaudreau got pulled in that Czechia game you mentioned. I was sitting there Boxing Day, as I always do for every first Canada World Junior game of the year, and I was a little bit worried. Gaudreau was a little bit shaky. It's biggest stage you could ever be on at that age. That's it's a major thing, and I don't doubt that he's a great goaltender, and I'm not going to give him flack for it or blame him for it. I'm a fan through and through, and but Milic came in, and guys been pretty solid ever since. Like in a lot of those big blowout games, he didn't have to do too much when he did play. But yeah, this Slovakia game, wow. There were multiple times where I was on the edge of my seat, clutching my face, thinking this game is over. It's done. A defensive breakdown happened, and unbelievable scoring chance for the Slovaks. I thought it was done. My good friend Colton and I were watching the game together. What a game, man. That I didn't plan for it to be that exciting, exhilarating, stress-inducing. How did you deal with the tension in that game? Because you could cut that thing with a knife.
Yeah, I mean, I really it's 2-0 on the Genther goal, and I'm I'm from the start, I had some faith in this team, right? The way they performed against Sweden, I'm looking at them and I'm thinking, it's going to take a lot to take these guys down. And I watched the entire game where Slovakia beat the States, and I was really impressed with them. But Canada was doing something that the States didn't, and that was play steady defensively while managing to take a lead. And that was what was missing for the United States in that game. And then Nemec scores on the power play, and all of a sudden, there's that little bit of fear. Ostapchuk then scores, though, right? But 4 minutes after Ostapchuk scores, Bako scores, and all of a sudden, okay, it's 3-2. And even at 3-2, I'm still thinking Canada has, it's okay. It's okay. 4-2 goal is coming, and the amount of times they hit the post of the crossbar, you thought it should have come by any point, and then all of a sudden it's 3-3. And I think I literally went from being 100% sure they were going to win to 100% sure they were going to lose within like 3 minutes.
Oh,
When
you
that
too?
tying goal,
Me too.
yeah, oh yes, yeah. When that tying goal goes in, because I'm so confident at 3-2. I'm thinking, no, this is okay, right? This is okay. This is fine. And the tying goal goes in, and just the way the game changed and the momentum the Slovaks clearly had, it was a problem. And even when overtime started, they don't score in that 4-on-3 power play, and I'm thinking, oh no, oh no, right? And like I said, like Shane Ray hit the bar on that power play. They're pouring everything on. Like this goaltender, man, the Slovak goaltender. Massive credit to Adam Gajan. It starts the tournament as the third goalie, and at the end of the day, I think I said this to you while the game was going on. Like Slovakia, my feeling towards Slovakia in this tournament is much like my feeling towards Latvia, which is you deserve better than where you are. Like Latvia, I thought performed very well in the preliminary rounds. They didn't really deserve, in my opinion, to be in the relegation game. Not to say that any of the 4 teams that finished above them didn't deserve to finish above them. I just thought, like, for Latvia, like they showed up in every single game. They showed up to play in every single game. I was impressed. Slovakia deserves to be in the semifinals. Again, not to say that Canada doesn't, but that performance from everybody. Simon Nemec was fantastic. That, like, yeah, but and the elephant in the room, we haven't even said his name yet, is Connor Bedard.
Oh, that elephant? Oh, I didn't see him. What? He's that noticeable? Oh, yeah. No, the guy is just 11 shots in the game. I honestly thought it was more. I saw the shot total at the end of the game. Correct me if I'm wrong. 54 for Canada, 52, something like that, around there. Regardless, low 50s. A ton of shots, just peppering them. I thought Bedard's shots were close to 20, just off the top of my head, but he was just going and going and going. Shot, 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 high blocker, high glove. And they weren't really going in. And yeah, just is it Guyon or Gajon? I had a hard time because I've heard both pronunciations so far. He was just everywhere in the net. There was no open windows. The guy was lights out, total eclipse. And can I cut to the goal already? Can I cut to the winner? Is it too early?
Well, I mean, let's quickly, the first goal of the game that he scored, and we'll talk about Logan Stankoven in a second here. Stankoven does a really good job now, once but twice, to disrupt the breakout. He makes a play initially to disrupt it the first time, and then when Slovakia recoups with a puck, tries to break up pass, he intercepts, and he springs Bedard. Bedard again. He's in that situation one-on-one. He's doing nothing but shooting the puck into the back of the net, and he does. So Bedard has already, going into overtime, broken the Canadian record for goals in any World Juniors total, has broken the points record. So he's beat Eberle, he's beat Eric Lindros, and he broke the record for most points by a Canadian in a single World Juniors with 19. So big day for him already. His team has their lead get away from them, and he's in overtime. And then he does that. And that was unbelievable.
In regards to that, the aforementioned that, you watch the Slovakian goaltender the whole way, and you can see he's thinking, shot. Oh, the shot's not coming. Shot, as he gets around another player. it's 3-on-3 at the time. He goes around the first guy, goaltender thinks shot. Goes around the second guy, goaltender thinks shot. And then, oh, shades of Jordan Eberle, the clutch god. It was just, I chills up my spine. You hear the Gord Miller call, and I jumped up off the couch, and my buddy and I are just screaming, jump, hug each other, fall back down to the couch. Like, did this really just happen? It was monumental. I didn't really expect that much of a roller coaster ride on my Monday, and I couldn't be more thankful for that surprise. Thank you, Connor Bedard, and thank you, Canada, and thank you to the Slovaks for putting up such a good fight and giving such a great game to watch.
And thank you to Halifax and Moncton, man. Like when the tournament was in Vancouver,
yeah.
I went to watch Canada lose both games they lost. So I watched them lose New Year's Eve against Russia. And then I watched them lose the quarterfinal against Finland. That one was tough.
We're banned from every Canadian World Junior game ever now.
I didn't go to the one in Edmonton here in the summer. I didn't attend. I genuinely, like, I'm not even going to disagree with you. But in Vancouver, the atmosphere and the fan turnout, it's well documented that the tournament in the summer didn't go very well. Like, it's been talked about. There was a lot of factors for why it didn't go very well, but it was an anomaly, even just the nature of it being played in the summer. But even the one in Vancouver, like, it's not that it didn't generate interest, because there was definitely interest, but it wasn't a huge, citywide event. And even in Victoria, like the arena sometimes wasn't fully filled up. And the year before in Buffalo, they had problems with attendance. There was a US semifinal where it pans to the crowd and there's more empty seats than full seats in 2018. And then 2020, you go to Ostrava and it's a breath of fresh air in Ostrava. And it's amazing. All the Czech fans were awesome in that tournament. The Canadian fans really turned up. And then COVID. So we got the bubble tournament in Edmonton, no fans. The summer tournament is what it was. And this tournament is kind of it's the first winter tournament with fans since Ostrava. It's the first one in Canada since Vancouver. And boy, did the fans turn out. And boy, is the atmosphere amazing. And you could see, and it was, it bothered me a little bit watching it on TV that everybody was standing up, because the nature of the arena in Halifax, just where the camera is, doesn't really allow for great sight lines on the near side when all the fans are standing up. Just the nature of the major junior arena not being, as big and not being as flexible where you can put the camera in relation to the top row of the bleachers. But the atmosphere has been amazing, not just for Canada games, but for all the games. So I just have to commend the hell out of just the fans in Halifax and Moncton. It's been awesome.
Completely agree. And, I just a final note on that topic. I don't want to give any disrespect to the Save on Food Center in Victoria, because isn't that what it's called? I think. Yeah, I believe that's what it's called. Wherever the Royals play, I've seen a handful of games there, and the fans fill that place for Royals games. It's awesome. It's a great atmosphere. They are huge fans of their Royals, and like the couple games I've seen, they're just screaming about how much they love Matthew Phillips and Tyler Soy, a couple of Royals legends. So, great place to see a game. It wasn't the same atmosphere. I'm stoked that it's this way in Halifax and Moncton, and it's just gonna set a good standard going forward.
So New Year's Day being on a Sunday meant that I personally had all day off today. We are recording this the night of Monday, January the 2nd. So I had all day off, and I woke up at 8:30. I unlocked the front door. My buddy came over and we sat our asses in my living room. We watched quarterfinal World Junior Hockey all day, 4 games in a row. And the first game and the last game were the blockbusters. And it's kind of funny to me because the criticism I sometimes hear about this tournament, and it's we haven't talked about this more because I just think it's stupid and I don't want to entertain this criticism. But the criticism is in the validity of the tournament, because you have how many blowouts you see, right? Like the level of competition. It's sometimes pointed to as a way to discount the tournament. I don't know why people are so content to try and take away from what this tournament is. Yeah, James is giving thumbs down. I don't like it either. But it's kind of funny today because the quarterfinal day was 2 examples supporting that argument and 2 examples adamantly against it. Because I know we talked about it a little bit earlier too. That first game, Finland, Sweden, not only was it a great game of hockey between 2 rivals, but the passion in everybody involved in that game, like the look on the face of the Sweden captain when he scored late. I know you referenced that to me. I'm not even going to try. I think Stiemborg is how you pronounce his name, scoring shorthanded through the legs of Lampinen, like with a minute 5 to go, and you like the camera cuts to his facial expression and his teammates mauling him, and then Carl Lindbaum makes that save on Joachim Kimmel. Like that was an amazing game. And then you get 2 blowouts in a row. I genuinely thought Switzerland was going to give the Czechs a run for their money. I don't think I thought Germany was going to give the States a run for their money, but I thought they were going to put up a better fight than that. And then you get sort of a David versus Goliath in Slovakia, Canada, and so close to an upset. And then for it to end the way it did, like, to me, what I have to say on that note is I'm happy to sit through the Czechia 9, Switzerland 1, and the United States 11, Germany 1, because for every one of those, there's the Finland 3, Sweden 2, and the Canada 4, Slovakia 3.
Damn right. I'll echo that same sentiment. That's an easy word. Sentiment. Come on, James. Come on. Let's get your head in the game. But yeah, I don't really care about the blowouts because this tournament is all about the best U20s in the world. They're young, they're emotional, they're going to make mistakes. There's defensive breakdowns. Some of the best players in the tournament are making massive mistakes. There's so much emotion. I want all of that emotion, all those mistakes, all those learning experiences, those things that these players will always remember going forward that will either help them or deter them in their careers. It's just storylines waiting all the time. And it's unbelievable. It's incredible. When you see Adam Sikora, who had an incredible game against Canada, tears in his eyes as he's being honored. That's the kind of thing that makes you love this tournament. It reminds me of Bowen Byram, his golden locks hanging down with the C on his chest as his team loses, tears falling to the ice. And it's just raw emotion. And like you can see him looking at his teammates and talking to them like, I want it to be better. I want it to be better. He played great. He played incredible. But there's so much emotion. These are kids. These are kids who just want to be there and do their best for their country. And for some of them, it's the best stage they will ever play on, the best and biggest. Not all of them are going to make it as pros to the next level and play in a cup final or play in the Olympics or something. This is as big as it gets for some of them, and they own it. It's incredible. This is what is great about the World Junior Hockey Championship. So you know what? Take whoever has those blowout takes can take them and shove it, honestly.
Yeah, especially like more so than anything else, because like at the end of the day, do you have people in your life that are World Junior fans that are trying to shove it down your throat for you to have that adamantly negative reaction to it? It's like, I don't know. I think I heard Chris Johnston say it a little while ago. Like for a while, it became, and I'm quoting here, like trendy to dunk on the tournament, and I kind of felt that way as well. And yeah, no, good. I don't want to hear it. Right? This is amazing. There's and the fact that like James, this feels like it's already been an incredible tournament, right? Like we're recording this. It's the end of January the 2nd. We haven't even watched a semifinal yet. It hasn't even happened. And we're already like, for this to happen in a quarterfinal was just unbelievable. Like, and the fact there is still 4 more huge games to come, maybe 3 if you're discounting the bronze medal game a little bit. I still think that for these kids, having that bronze medal in 5 years, they'll look back on it fondly. It's probably a sucker punch not to be in the gold medal game at the time, but it's something that you're happy about in retrospect. But regardless, we should get to it. One of the semifinals is United States versus Canada, which is, we didn't get it
like that. Do we?
Oh
really
my God!
like that? Oh wow! Oh, what a surprise!
And we didn't get it in the summer tournament. And the last time these two teams met in a big game, it was the 2021 gold medal game where Spencer Knight single-handedly won the United States a gold medal against a Canada team that looked unbeatable until all of a sudden they were beat. And I again, like the fact that again, you're talking about your emotions through this Slovakia game, and I was the same way. The fact that we've already gone through that, and I guess it depends when you're listening to this. At the time of recording, in less than 48 hours, we get to watch a United States Canada World Junior semifinal is absolutely exhilarating.
Oh, 100%. And I am luckily going to be watching it at work, and I will get to hear our current sports radio guy, whoever that is at the time, talk about it in their awesome sports voices. And it's going to be great. I'm going to be watching that while writing some stories. It's going to be a hell of a day, and it's just going to get me even more excited for the finals, for the bronze and gold medal games, regardless of who's playing in them. I don't care who's playing in them. It could be the two worst teams in the tournament, and I would still watch it and love every second of it.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Because at the end of the day, we're just talking about what's the allure of this tournament. It's what this means to the players. And no matter who's in that gold medal game, it's going to mean everything to them. And yeah, the United States big win today, 11-1 over Germany. It never really looked like it was in question. Three goals in the first 9 minutes of the game. Logan Cooley, Jimmy Snuggerud, and Cole Savage. I have been really impressed with Snuggerud. Logan Cooley's probably meeting my expectations. I thought he was going to be very good. He has been very good. Luke Hughes has either, he'll have a shift where I think he's unbelievable. He'll have a shift where he was okay, but at the end of the game, I'm always sitting there like, no, he was good. And
he's steady Eddie.
Yeah, he's pretty much. And both Quinn Hughes and Jack Hughes have played well enough in the NHL that I'm not, I've heard this is supposed to be the best Hughes. I'm not going to make a judgment on it yet. But both Jack Hughes and Quinn Hughes, I think, weren't all they could be in their respective World Junior tournaments. So it's hard to kind of compare that. But regardless, speaking of Luke Hughes, he's looked good. Simon Nemec was fantastic today. The New Jersey Devils, we've talked about it, have an unbelievable defense duo coming up that is going to dominate for years to come.
Nemec is an absolute killer. Like, I'm stoked to watch this guy in the pros.
Yeah, and I genuinely thought he did a very good job with Bedard today. I think he did a better job with Bedard than, knock on wood, than Luke Hughes than I think Luke Hughes would do. So we'll see if that's the road the United States takes. I actually don't think that would have been that would be a very good idea. Hughes is a good enough offensive player that you want to separate him from that matchup and maybe assign it to somebody else. So yeah, like it's Canada US. We're biased. This show is literally called the Great Canadian Hockey Podcast. From what I've seen of both teams, I think the edge goes to Canada. I was talking about this earlier. My dad missed the game, so he called me about an hour ago, having watched it recorded. We were talking about this game, and the one thing I said to him was that I think the Czechs and the Slovaks did better against Canada than the States are going to do, because the Czechs and the Slovaks have the capacity. Not only do they have the capacity to do it, they have the expectation that they're going to have to soak up all the pressure. They're prepared for it. That's their game plan. So they'll soak up all the pressure. They'll take their chances when they get them. The United States is going into this game. The way this team is built, they have to try and outgun Canada. They have to. That's the way their team is built. That's the way they've played in this tournament. They are not going to beat Canada by sitting back, absorbing pressure and counterattacking. They're not. And I'm looking at that forward group, and as good as Snuggerud and Cooley have been, and as good as Cutter Gauthier has been, and as much as Tyler Boucher is kind of having a redemption arc here after two very underwhelming post-draft years, it's still, you're not going to outgun Bedard and Genther and Stankoven right now. You're just not. So I have a couple. I put a couple bucks on Canada, but at the end of the day, there have been so many times in this matchup, in this tournament, where the favorite hasn't been victorious.
Quick tidbit. One thing I feel about gambling on Canada, I like to put a small amount of money on the team playing against them, because that way I'm stoked either way.
Yeah, I've kind of had that line of thinking in the past. The other thing too, I don't like feeling the twinge of disappointment when they win. So I haven't really leaned into that. The other thing too is my betting app doesn't have the World Juniors on it. But that's besides the point. So again, we talked about him already. Connor Bedard, he's getting all the headlines, record breaking, 8 goals, 13 assists, and 21 points in 5 games. I wanted to quickly just run around other recent first overall picks, how they did in this tournament. So this is the year that they're going to get drafted. So again, you're watching him tear up all these teams, watching him tear up this tournament. And at the end of the day, you're kind of watching this, you're thinking, oh, this competition's a little bit beneath him, right? You scored 21 points in 5 games. That's a natural thing to have cross your mind. So I have stats, of course, James. I have stats. So this is, in each instance, the players' World Juniors in the year they were drafted. So they had not yet been drafted. They were the top prospect for the upcoming draft. Start with Connor McDavid. Connor McDavid was fantastic in the 2015 tournament. He was tied for the tournament lead in points. He had 3 goals and 8 assists for 11 points in 7 games. Okay, just again, 8 goals, 21 points in 5 games so far for Bedard. Sidney Crosby, part of a famously stacked 2005 Canadian World Junior team, 6 goals and 3 assists for 9 points in 6 games. Alexander Ovechkin. Ovechkin did play in the 2005 tournament because of the lockout, but his specific draft year tournament, 5 goals, 2 assists, 7 points in 6 games. Austin Matthews for the United States, 2016 tournament, better than the rest of them in terms of goals. He had 7 goals in 7 games, added 4 assists for 11 points. Again, Connor Bedard, 8 goals, 21 points in 5 games. Just, I feel like I have to keep stressing that as I'm running through these NHL superstars and how they did. Nathan McKinnon in 2013. 2013 was another lockout year. So Canada had their pick of the litter for players. So he didn't get as much ice time because you had, like, for instance, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins was the first overall pick in 2011. He led this tournament in scoring because he would have been with the Edmonton Oilers, but the lockout shortened season caused him to play in this tournament. But McKinnon, only 1 point, 1 assist in 6 games. That's a little bit of a different situation. Jack Hughes in 2019, 4 assists, no goals in 4 games in his tournament. The only one in recent memory that was one of the best players in the tournament, in fact, he won tournament MVP, was 2020. Alexis Lafreniere had 4 goals and 10 points in the 5 games he played, missed 2 games due to injury, but was fantastic in every game he played in, and won MVP in 2020. So Lafreniere is the only one that's, and obviously he's not coming close production wise, but came close in terms of he was the guy that year. He was the guy for that team. He was the guy in that tournament. But aside from that, again, like I know we kind of did this exercise with Bedard's stats in the WHL. I just want to again reiterate that, you know, he's breaking these records as a draft eligible player. These other superstars didn't even come close to this.
Yeah, it's a monumental feat. With a couple of them, McDavid specifically, I don't have the scores up, but I don't really remember as many blowouts that year. I remember close games. I remember being on the edge of my seat often. And when it wasn't a close game, maybe they're up by 3 or 4 goals. You know, I
only specifically recall them winning big against Denmark. I think the rest of them were within 3 or 4 at the most.
And then another thing to take into account is the group that Canada is placed in. I'm not going to say they had an easy group, but they had a couple teams that they had a chance of blowing out. And you know, you look at Bedard's point totals in those games, it speaks for itself. I'm not discounting his performance whatsoever. Putting up that many points in a best-on-best tournament of players your age is absolutely nuts. I do just want to take those into account, but. Yeah, I mean,
7 points in his last 2 games against Sweden and Slovakia, right? And obviously, you know, the bulk of the 21 is Austria, Germany, but every tournament you get, or Austria, not Austria, Germany. Yeah, Austria, Germany. But every tournament you get those teams, right? And at the end of the day, it's not like Connor McDavid didn't get to play against Denmark, right? It's not like Connor McDavid had a group where it was Sweden, US, Finland, Russia, and Canada as the 5. That wasn't the case. Canada, in fact, they had Slovakia in that semifinal, which is an easier semifinal than they often get on paper, right? McDavid had 3 points in that game. Anyhow, the other thing I wanted to touch on is, you know, I'm usually pretty solid at being able to look at a player and pull their NHL comparable. I don't even have one for Logan Stankoven, man. He's his own player. He's his own player, and he's you know, Bedard is the entire focus, obviously, for good reason. But Logan Stankoven, every time he's on the ice, he makes a difference. Every time he's on the ice, he's one of the most, if not the most tenacious force. He always wants the puck. His drive for the puck when he's on the ice reminds me of Mike Richards' Not that he plays anything like Mike Richards, because he doesn't, but what I see out of Stankoven when he's pursuing the puck and when he's on it, it's that same determination. Like, this is mine. I'm going to do anything in my power to get it and keep it, that I saw out of Mike Richards in the early 2010s.
I could see that. I was just running through my head trying to think of comparisons, and you're right. I'm stuck. I got nothing.
He's so unique. He's so unique.
Nothing for you.
I think I think he's if Cole Caulfield was a center, that was kind of the one thing that I sort of had in my head, but he's way more well-rounded than Caulfield, which I guess is if he was a center in a way. But just his shot is very good. His hands are unbelievable. His hockey sense is fantastic too. I really like this guy. And Dallas, my God, Jason Robertson in the second round, Rupe Hintz, I think in the second round, if not later, and now Logan Stankoven in the second round. Like, their team is going to be a playoff contender, and they're going to be built around their best players not being picked in the high picks. Not to say that their first round picks aren't coming to the forefront as well. Miro Heiskanen and Jake Ottinger are two of them, but just the getting Robertson at 39 in 2017 is the best thing that has happened to that franchise since they won a Stanley Cup.
I'm still trying to think of Stankoven comparisons. I've got nowhere.
He's his own player. Like, I maybe Matt Barzal, but even then, not really.
No.
Yeah.
No, with Barzal, the big signature is the skating, and I can't compare anyone without the specific skating style.
Yeah. Anyways, soldiering on with the World Junior talk. This is going to be most of this because, well, for obvious reasons, it's awesome. I have in our show notes, Montreal, New Jersey, and Arizona all seem like they made the right choice, but I spelled right as in Shane Wright's last name, which is exactly where I'm going with this. Juraj Slafkovsky, from what I've seen out of him in the NHL this season, looks like somebody who isn't ready to be in the NHL yet, but has all the potential in the world. He obviously had a huge year last year playing professionally in Finland and playing for Slovakia at every level. I'm not going to question that pick at number one, but what we've seen in this tournament out of Simo Nemec and Logan Cooley, just kind of in my head, and you can disagree with me, cut me off if you think I'm being an idiot here. Cooley and Nemec have both shown in this tournament why they were picked above Shane Wright.
I still want Wright over Cooley. I'm debating on saying that, but like, dude, just the expression on Shaner's face, looking at his face, his poise with the puck is so much different. His body position when going into a corner is so different. Everything seems like, I'm going to avoid the pun. I'm avoiding the pun. I'm not doing it. Everything seems proper for him. I didn't say right. I didn't want to use the pun. I've already used it. It just seems, he seems like he feels like he's in the right place. Like, this is the place for him to come and feel good.
That's more than fair. I think if we have to flesh out the Cooley versus Wright thing specifically, I think Logan Cooley has more high-end potential. He has more potential to be a superstar number one center than Shane Wright does. Shane Wright is more of a can't-miss solid top six forward pick, if that makes sense, if that tickles your fancy per se.
They're just such different types of centers. It's a completely different type of player. We're looking at a Shane Wright's range could go from smaller prime Jordan Stahl all the way up to, like, analysts have given him the Bergeron comparison for what his peak could be.
When I watch Shane Wright play, I think Braden Point.
No, that's cool. I like that. I never really agreed with the Bergeron comparison, but I didn't watch him enough in juniors, so I didn't really, I don't have that angle. But I like the Braden Point comparison.
For me, comparing somebody to Patrice Bergeron, it's a very different way, but it's like comparing somebody to Connor McDavid, right? Like, Patrice Bergeron is so good at specifically what he does that it's impossible to saddle anybody else with that comparison. Like, you can't do it to me. Point is a reliable two-way center, not the greatest defensive center in the world. And he's a reliable offensive player, not the most, productive center in the world. But Braden Point to me is somebody who does everything right and you can always count on.
I got one. A less tenacious Kadri.
I can see that. Oh, I can definitely see that without a doubt.
I like that one.
I like that too.
On that one. I'm taking that and running with it. Thanks, Shaner.
He's Nazem Kadri if Kadri wasn't as mad as Kadri always was. I think that's a pretty good That's a pretty good shout for him. Logan Cooley, yeah, and it's obviously part of it too is obviously the fact that with Seattle he's just had such a polarizing season to now, and I really liked him with the Kingston Frontenacs. I've liked him in this tournament. Just from what I've seen out of Logan Cooley, I've watched most of the States' games. He's been more in control, but it's hard for Shane Wright to shine with Connor Bedard stealing the limelight. So I think that's part of it as well. Logan Cooley's the guy to me on that United States forward core.
And that's what I love about Shane Wright's role right now. He doesn't have to lead by example. He can lead by being the person he is, by being Shane Wright, by having a presence. When you look at him step on the ice, you see a bit of confidence on that Canadian bench. They're like, okay, good. Shane's out there. Good. All right, we're safe for a bit. Things aren't going to go super wrong right now. He steps on the ice, and I really honestly wish he scored that overtime goal. I think he deserves it. I think with what he did going down to the AHL and what he did scoring against Montreal and then going into this tournament, playing stellar hockey, sound hockey, reliable hockey, I think he deserved that goal. I really wish it didn't go off that post. Yes, Bedard is the best player in the tournament, but I wanted to see Shane Wright kind of bask in the limelight a bit.
And we still haven't, like I said, we still haven't played a semifinal game. There's still time. Speaking of the US-Canada semifinal, just kind of on a whim, I was going to spring this question on you. So the United States and Canada are playing in the semifinals. Can you give me, so two quick trivia, we're going to do World Junior Trivia at the end. Two quick trivia questions for you right now. No, I didn't Google these. I just kind of came up with them. So can you give me number one, the last 3 times Canada and the United States have played in the World Juniors and what the results of each game were? And then number 2, the last time Canada and the US met specifically in a World Juniors semifinal.
I didn't know there was going to be math in my podcast. I didn't sign up for this.
It's not math. It's just what part of this is math?
Subtracting the meetings, subtracting the semifinal meetings from the actual meetings.
If you want a hint, the last 3 meetings in any stage of the tournament.
Is one of them the one where Jake McCabe was on the American roster?
Not that I can specifically recall. He might have been on the roster for the last semifinal meeting. So I'll give you this. The last 3 meetings have all not been in semifinals. And then the most recent semifinal meeting is just before that.
Give me a year.
Okay, so the last 3 meetings have been 2021, 2020, and 2017. The last semifinal was in 2013.
Jake McCabe. I knew it.
There you go.
Yes.
To me, that's the John Gibson, Johnny Gaudreau team. That screams to me, that tournament.
And from that one, I remember Gibson being dominant, but the first thing that comes to mind is Jake McCabe standing people up and showing that he could be a dominant blue liner at the NHL level, which I mean he's a solid NHLer. I just remember thinking, oh God, this guy is scary. This guy is gruesome. He was such a dominant presence on their blue line in that tournament. Like he is.
Sorry, quick edit for you. I said 2017. The game was played in 2017. I'm just now remembering it's 2018. It's not 2017. Sorry. So the last 3 meetings were in the 2021, 2020, and 2018 tournaments.
I'll give you a mulligan on that one. That one's fair. You can have a mulligan. I'm gonna need probably 2 for the rest of the show. But yeah, I just remember Jake McCabe being just a tenacious player and being worried to see him at the NHL level, even though my favorite team was Colorado and he was playing in Buffalo. But yeah, I somehow managed to kind of get that one. I'm happy with myself in that trivia question.
So can you give me the results of their last 3 meetings, 2021, 2020, and 2018?
I didn't do my homework for this one, man. I wasn't ready for that question. We don't script these, but I definitely didn't see that one coming. No, I can't. Help me out. What do we got?
Well, 2021 was the one we were talking about, the infamous Spencer Knight gold medal game. Goals by Turcotte and Zegras. The Americans beat Canada 2-0. 2020 was the back and forth group Boxing Day game where Alexis Lafreniere scored 7 seconds after the US tied it 4-4 to make it 5-4 in a eventual 6-4 win. And then 2018 notably was the only outdoor game in World Junior history in Buffalo, the States winning in a shootout in the group stage.
Well, thank you for the information and you knowing your stuff. And listeners, I promise I'm not a fake World Junior fan. I do love this tournament, but I didn't have those numbers on my head. And I'm not even going to use my fatigue as an excuse. I just didn't know those ones.
It's okay. I think the actual stuff I prepared for you that isn't just on a whim, I think you'll do better with them. That's my.
Now they're gonna think you're giving it to me easy.
No. These are written down. These are set in stone beforehand. I'm not editing these at all.
It's like when someone gives their significant other a win playing Mario Kart or something, lets them win. It's just now I feel guilty.
Well, when me and Caitlin play Chell, I don't let her win, but I play as I go on. Like I think we just play national teams. I play as Team Japan or whatever, like Team Kazakhstan, and she goes as Team Canada. And I'll try. It's just the skill gap and the goalie and the lack of skill on my team makes it for a close game. I don't think she's beat me yet, but I think we had a shootout barn burner the other day.
You should throw her on NHL 94 controls and see what happens. You'll probably get toasted.
I've never thought about that. Because she knows how to play, right? So I think it would be a little bit of a transition for her to suddenly switch control method. But you know what? I think you're right. And she would relish in beating me in any way. So I think we're going to give that a go. She's not here. She's at home right now, but when she's back.
I'm going to give this one last note because I think it's a good strategy for anyone out there who really wants to let someone win. I imagine someone will encounter this at some point. I've let my Uncle Dan, love my Uncle Dan, great guy. I played him in Chell a couple times. His experience is fairly limited, and I threw him on NHL 94 controls. Absolutely roasted me. I think it was like 7-4. I had no chance. Just presses A, it's over. It's done. It just goes in. Automatic slap shot, top right. Easy.
Just as we're kind of transitioning from the World Juniors to the NHL, I just want to point something out, man. You and I have never had a game of NHL on any console ever. So that has to be something we remedy in the near future, I think.
I don't know if you want it.
I'm not that good.
Yeah, you don't want it.
I'm aggressively mediocre, especially because you know what? The one I have here is 21. I have not yet updated. I need to update. There's not enough time in my life to justify $80 a year, but I kind of in my head, I'm like, okay, I'll do it every other year. And I just haven't got around to buying 23 yet.
So maybe it's every other year, and you're gonna come back in at 24.
At this point, probably because the price of 23 hasn't dropped yet. So, am I going to pay the same amount of money for half of the time before the new one comes out? I don't think so. The only downfall of that to me, like I don't mind the 21 gameplay. I actually liked it more than what I've played out of the newer ones. I know you and I are the same way. I just religiously play franchise mode. So the ratings, potentials, and teams are all not updated, which it bothers me a little bit, but yeah,
you got to update then, because once you update to 2022, they finally put custom rosters that people have made that you can download in the game. So someone is going to have one in there for an updated NHL for you, and you're never going to have to get a new game again.
Yeah, I have heard that. Yeah, we'll think about it. I did. My birthday's the day before Christmas, so we got some gifts, but also got some checks. I don't know if Caitlin would appreciate the money for our savings account going to a video game right now, but I don't care. So maybe we'll just get it.
Add in her favorite food and you're good. You're safe.
Yeah. We said we weren't going to do gifts to each other because it's one bank account. We said we're just going to save up some money and go on like a trip on a weekend, stay in a hotel somewhere instead, which is a better idea. And I did surprise her with a gift. So I have one in the bank right now, and I might use that. Shell 23.
Oh, look at you gathering brownie points. I'm so proud of you. You're such a good boyfriend.
You gotta know how to do it here. Moving to the NHL. Winter Classic was today. For me, got completely overshadowed with how awesome a couple of these quarterfinal games were. I don't know how you feel about the Winter Classic, James. For me, I loved it. Absolutely loved the Winter and Heritage Classics. until I was maybe 13, 14 years old, I could tell you who played and the results of every single one because I loved watching them. They were an event for me. And then the NHL introduced the Stadium Series, and I stopped caring about all of them. It's cool that it was in Fenway Park. The jerseys are cool to look at. I didn't watch the games because I was watching World Junior Hockey all day. Watched the highlights, looked cool, but I haven't been able to get invested since that Stadium Series year where it felt like they played half the regular season in a football field or a baseball park.
I think if I love the Winter Classic, just the look of it. It's such an interesting little treat to have. I almost would prefer if it didn't line up with World Juniors. I guess for people who don't watch the World Juniors, that really that seems like something great. And then also for locals, what a great way to spend your day. That's awesome. Right after New Year's, you just have a good time and go sit and watch. I mean, unless it was in Minnesota and then you're freezing all of your limbs off, and that was kind of something. Looked cool though. But I think I want them to go with that route that they took with the Colorado Vegas outdoor game. That was such a beautiful scene. Yes, the weather didn't work out perfectly and they had to come back to the game later in the day. And that was kind of odd. And that seems like something out of a story from 70 years ago. But I really, really loved the look of that. I can't recall off the top of my head what lake that was at, but it was incredible. The views were incredible. It was by far the most aesthetically pleasing outdoor game I've ever seen looks wise. And I would like to go that route.
Yeah, and you know what? This year, the story for me was, beyond Fenway and all that. It was the game because the game that Jake DeBrusk had is pretty descriptive of the season he's been having. After an awful 2021, he requests a trade. They don't trade him. He has since rescinded his trade request. Last season, 25 goals in 77 games, a bounce back because in 2021, he was bad. 5 goals, 14 points in 41 games for somebody that looked like he was going to be a surefire top 6 forward. 16 goals, 30 points in 36 games already, James. Well on pace to beat his career high in points. Probably going to be his career high in goals. He'd have to fall off pretty hard not to. His career high is 27. So for me, this is a guy that when he requested a trade, I was like, Vancouver, come on, hop on him. I really like this guy. But here we are. He's a Boston Bruin, and he's contributing to the success that team's had, which has been extensive this season.
Yeah, they're pretty good. I I didn't really like it when Colorado played them. It wasn't fun. And when I watch other teams play them, it's just like, ugh.
Yeah.
I already know the result of this game unless there's just some anomaly. I mean, with the 4 regulation losses and 4 OT losses, or are they 2-2? Yeah, 4-4. I want to say 4-4. Yeah, and their record is just incredible. They're rolling over teams. The whole last dance mentality with Krejci coming back. It's pretty freaking rock star if you ask me. Like, if they go win a cup, it'll be a cool storyline. I like it. I like storylines. I watch sports for storylines. I watch sports I don't care about for storylines. Terrible. It's not even a take. It's just my opinion. I don't like watching baseball, but I love the storylines. I enjoy. I loved seeing like the Bryce Harper redemption arc on the crazy run of the World Series, even though he lost. Stuff like that just gets my gears turning, sends chills up my spine, reminds me of why I love sports. So you know what? The Bruins can keep doing that stuff for that reason. I'm not a huge Canucks fan or a fan of like a Montreal fan or something like that. I don't have any ill will towards them. I'm just not really a big fan of them. It is what it is. But they can keep doing what they're doing. And on the Jake DeBrusk note, that guy has his mojo. Wherever it was, he found it. It's a completely different player. I feel like just circumstantially, because I always have hockey on, I've seen him play a ton of times. There's no more invisible Jake. There's no more where is DeBrusk. There's no more, oh, he hasn't had a shift in a while. It's this guy's on the ice. He's dominant. He's making things happen. And he's causing trouble for every team that's on the ice against the Bruins.
So initially in our show notes, I had JT Miller. we've talked about the Canucks enough, I think, because I'm a Canucks fan and we've just,
Oh, are you?
it's come up. Yeah. And because I'm a Canucks fan, I don't even want to like, and they're not even playing bad. They're not even playing bad. It's just, I'm so done with watching this team win games that will eventually lead to mediocrity and either a near playoff miss or a near playoff qualification and a first, or if they're lucky, a second round exit. I'm over it. I can see now that the vision of this team is through the vision of their owner, which is I want playoff revenue, right? By any means possible. I don't want to win a cup. I just want to be in the playoffs to get the revenue from those home games, and I'm done. And until that changes, I'm, it's impossible for me to say like, oh, I'm not a Canucks fan because that's dumb. Nobody, like I'm too big of a hockey fan and I've been too big of a Canucks fan for a long time. But I'm gonna be pretty freaking frustrated with this team so long as that's the goal, and I can still see that being the goal. JT Miller is just, for me, he's an embodiment of the team's problems because he's frustrating. He's just so him yelling at Colin Delia was just, it's got to be, not only did it visually look bad, but the fact that he then let Bruce Boudreau take all of the blame for it and didn't one time be like, oh, that was my responsibility, I shouldn't have done that, really annoyed me too. I think that's all we have to say on the Canucks unless you have something to add.
Yeah, I'd like to add for sure. I didn't see this as it happened. I was told about it by a friend while we were playing some video games and hanging out. And I watched the video, and full transparency, I smiled when I watched it. Not that I was laughing at it, that I was like, I like fire. I like fire. I like chaos. um, yeah, I mean, we talked about this before, that completely different situation, but with like a guy like Binnington snapping. I like seeing players snap. It reminds me of the competitiveness of the sport, and another one of the reasons that I love hockey so much. Yes, it would have been a hell of a lot better if he took some blame. If he went to the media and said, "Yeah, I was pissed, wasn't really happy." If he just went and said that, yes, would have been a lot better. But I do not really have any problem with it actually happening, with him yelling at his goalie. It didn't really phase me too much on that front. But yes, I agree that it would have been better. And I think if he just went and said, hey, I really wasn't having it, it is what it is, on to the next game. Thanks, guys. And then mic drop left. I think that would have been great.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree with you. Almost anything he could have said or done after would have been better than what he did. So, yeah, the other thing that happened in the NHL since we were gone, the big thing, obviously, Alexander Ovechkin passing Gordie Howe, second place in all-time goals, 806 now, 26 goals in 39 games this season. James, never, ever, ever, one time have I ever once. James is on the camera right now. You can't see it, but he's doing the hot stick thing. Never have I once seen a team whose sole and primary goal was to have one of their players achieve a statistical feat the way that the Washington Capitals are built right now, so that Alexander Ovechkin can catch Wayne Gretzky. Their team is not good enough to win the Stanley Cup right now. I don't think they are. And they are not well equipped enough for the future after Ovechkin. But rather than either bolstering up right now for a cup run or tearing it down, they just want to leave it as is, because right now he's clearly in a good position to have success because everybody wants him to catch Gretzky in that organization. And I don't know if you have a thought on that, but to me, it's I'm not saying, I'm not saying it as a criticism. It's just bizarre to me to see a team's whole existence be around, we want our captain to score 806. So like, just what, another season and a half worth of goals to break this record.
Yeah, I think yes, that does seem like, and is their one of, if not their main purpose right now. But I also want to take into account that John Carlson's injured right now. Tom Wilson and Nick Backstrom haven't played a game yet this season. This team hasn't been healthy yet. I honestly think they're pretty loaded up front and could cause some trouble in the first, maybe even second round for whoever they match up with in the playoffs if they make it. If they make it, that is a thing. I'd love to see the Caps in the playoffs. A year without Ovi in the playoffs just seems like a joke. But yeah, Records are meant to be broken, and it almost never happens with the cool ones. So if all of these guys are banding together and getting together every night saying, we got to get Ovi another one tomorrow. If that's their purpose, I'm all here for it. I love that. I want to see Ovi being the greatest goal scorer of all time because you era adjust goals, he is. He already is the GOAT. We're just waiting for clarification. Like in terms of goal scoring. Not the GOAT all time in every category. We have talked about that probably and will talk about it more in the future. But yeah, I would love to see them continue to support him. I think bringing in Dylan Strome was an awesome addition to help him secure more goals. That guy's a great playmaker. He's honestly kind of an ideal player to play with Ovi sometimes. That's awesome. So yeah, I support it. I want it to keep happening going forward. And I don't care if they're all empty netters.
Yeah,
And
I
people were
get
getting
that.
pissed about empty netters when he got 2 in one game. They were so mad. And I was like, dude, he doesn't even hold the record for empty netters. Gretzky still has that. So just take that take and throw it in the garbage. It's trash.
You know, for me, I had always been a person that like didn't really read into, like, to me, somebody commenting on something online was just, a faceless idiot most of the time if I didn't agree with what they were saying. The amount of like just the amount of things I've been kind of hearing, I guess, or just reading from fans that have been commenting on even this situation. We kind of touched on it at the World Juniors. I just like, I meant like, if if you are that mad about something that affects your life that little, like just let the people that are enjoying it enjoy it. That's my message. Like, just let, maybe it's not for you. Maybe Ovechkin breaking Gretzky's record isn't for you. It's not. Like a lot of
Maybe they
people
should
want
find
him.
another sport.
Yeah, well, and you know what? Like, I'm not even saying I want him or don't want him to break the record. I'm actually gonna stay impartial on it. I think it'd be very cool that we get to watch somebody break the record. Um, but overall, like, Gretzky wants him to break the record. He said that, right? Like, just, let it happen and enjoy watching history because it doesn't come around all that often.
Love that, except for one thing. I don't like letting you be impartial, Marshall. If you had to have one or the other, him break the record or not, if you had to, someone, gun to your head, someone says, do you want him to break the record or not? What are you going to say?
If you asked me exactly 2 years ago today, 100% yes. I still am a little bit unbothered by his blasé attitude towards the Russia-Ukraine situation, and B, the outward support he's always had for Vladimir Putin. There's pictures of him and Putin together still up on his Instagram, right? He's always been a huge supporter. We've heard Russian NHLers commend it, say how much they have a distaste for it. And he's the most influential one. I genuinely think his voice might make a difference, and he's not using it. The reason I'm not as like hard line, oh, he needs to, whatever, is because Russia and North America have very different cultures, very different governments. You don't know what may or may not happen if he is to speak out. So that's kind of why I'm not like, yeah, I'm not like taking a hard line stance on it. It's more just something that's leaving a bad taste in my mouth. So that's kind of why it's a complicated feeling for me. Again, if you had asked me before, if you had asked me, it's right now, it's January. So I guess it's third now. We've passed midnight. Oh, it's second for you. We've passed midnight in Alberta. But if you asked me early January 2021, I'm saying 100%. It'd be awesome, right? When do you get to witness history? Not that often. We're witnessing it with Bedard right now, and that's special. It'd be cool to witness it with Ovechkin. But like I said, bad taste in my mouth. However, if you force me to choose, I think, him as a player, what I've seen out of him, I've always loved watching him play. I've always loved the attitude he's had. Watching him win the Cup in 2018 is probably my favorite Stanley Cup win that I've ever been able to watch. Like, and the summer after, it was just awesome.
Me too. 100%. It was, he said right after, I'm paraphrasing. I believe it was, it's time, we did it. Friends, fans, go grab a beer and celebrate with those that you love. And I, in my small hometown of Port Alberni, went to my local Boston Pizza because we were limited for bars at the time. And I sat with a couple of friends who were hockey fans and talked about how much we love hockey and how awesome it is that OV won a cup. And I sat there and had a couple laughs and enjoyed a nice picture with a couple of friends. It was perfect. And I don't think hockey would be the same if he didn't win a cup.
No, and even just that year, like that was actually the first year that, like, I think in 2015, 16, and 17, I had them at the very least in the conference or Stanley Cup finals. I think in 16 and 17, I said it was their year to win the cup. And every year they got disappointed. In 2018 was the first year I was like, yeah, they're losing to Pittsburgh in the second round. It's inevitable. And then they beat them. And that's kind of why my attitude around the Colorado Avalanche had been like, I'm going to keep picking them until they win. Because with Washington, I stopped picking them and then they won. So I was like, no, this time I'm hardline. I'm sticking with the Avs, and they won this year. So I guess that kind of wraps up what we had prepared World Junior and NHL wise. I did kind of just want to take this opportunity to say, if you're still listening to this podcast in the middle of this with us rambling about Ovechkin and Miller and the Canucks, and if you are listening to me say these words right now, you have some sort of care for what they are. And if you do have care for what we're saying, you're probably a hockey fan. And if you're a hockey fan, we did 2 interviews that I really, really like. The first one with Mike Moore. He won the 1982 World Junior. So if you're listening to this now and you are super into World Junior mode like James and I are, go listen to Mike. He was the leading scorer of the first World Junior that Canada ever won, and he gives us an absolutely phenomenal interview. That was episode 6. Episode 7, we talked to David Brandis. He is a Blackfalds Bulldogs defenseman in the AJHL. He is currently committed to Sacred Heart University in the NCAA. So he talks about his hockey career to now. He talks about choosing the NCAA route over the major junior route. Both interviews are amazing. Both interviews are up. If you're listening and you're enjoying this, you're going to enjoy that. So go listen to them.
Yeah, emphasis on if you're listening. This is probably the most all over the place podcast we've ever had. Just once we got out of World Junior stuff, I loved it. Like, I'm having a blast right now, but it was pretty all over the place. So a big emphasis on if you're listening, and I hope you still are at this point. But the both interviews were great. I talk very often about things in sports that send chills up my spine, and there were a couple Mike Muller things that really got me going there, and I remember walking out of doing that interview. Walking out of doing that interview makes it sound like I actually met him in person. No, I was sitting in front of my laptop in my apartment. But no, I walked out of that very, very happy and refreshed and thankful for the time he spent and the stories he told us, because that was our first NHLer. That was a huge milestone for us, and hopefully more come down the line in the future. It was pretty special, and I really recommend people who just love hearing a good story give a listen as well.
So the other thing I wanted to I wanted to ask you about, James. So I was listening to a hockey show, as you and I always so often do. I love to listen to, like, you and I have such a long, extensive knowledge of this game. So for me, it's actually sometimes kind of difficult to find a hockey podcast, because I always want to be listening to somebody who knows more than me, because that's how you learn. And so I find these podcasts with obviously people who know a lot, and I give the light of day to everything they always say. And I heard something on one of them last week that just, like, I remember, like, I'm in my car and I'm driving and I hear it. I look at the radio and I can hear the voices. It's the same people. I look at the phone. It's like, no, it's the show. This is actually what I'm listening to. And the opinion was that, and I'm gonna get your opinion on it. And generally, an opinion can be right or wrong, but I'll respect it. This to me is so not even a question. Like, this is so, I can't, I don't even, I was shocked with what I was hearing. And then I can't even believe we have to talk about this or have this debate. We don't, I'm just choosing to. But so the opinion is, if a player attempts a Michigan and his stick comes in contact with the goaltender's face, that is, and I'm directly quoting because this is somewhat important, high sticking.
No. The goalies make saves with their masks all the time. Why does that have any
Well, and the argument was the stick is coming into contact with a goalie's face.
I see you blow the play dead if the stick goes in the goalie's mask. I don't like that. I don't want a stick going in between the cat eye there. No,
I can get behind that. I can get behind that.
But if the blade smacks their mask a bit, I don't care.
No, and that was the insinuation, was it's a high sticking penalty. And I'm again, like, I'm driving and I'm like saying aloud to myself, like, have you not, like, how is this a conversation topic? How are you actually? And both of the people agreed with that it should be a penalty. Like, guys, the rule of high sticking, two things prevent this from actually being right. Number one, a high stick is actually only supposed to occur if you hit somebody in the face and your stick is above your shoulders. So if you're skating and your stick is about the height of your hips and somebody falls down in front of you and their face comes in contact with your stick, but your stick's at your hips, it's not high sticking. Okay. Number two, and I'm going to actually directly read this from the NHL rulebook. A player is permitted accidental contact on an opponent if the act is committed as a normal windup or follow through of a shooting motion. And I thought that was common knowledge. You, like, a high stick isn't a high stick if it's the follow through of a shot, period. A Michigan's a shot. What else is it? You're trying to score. It's an attempt on goal that the goalie has to save. It's a shot. So if you hit a goalie in the face with a puck on your stick, you're shooting. It's still a follow through of a shot. And I just, like, it blew my mind. And I'm glad you're on my side, so I don't have to, like, argue with you about this for a while. But it was mind blowing to hear the like, to see here and hear two people that I listen to multiple times a week, and
we both worship. Yeah,
legit, say that this is high sticking. It's like, are you, like, what in, oh God. I'm glad you agree. I wanted to know if I was crazy, honestly, because, like, it was such a no-brainer to me. It's like, am I missing something? But if I'm not, I'm happy.
And I'm also glad that I was able to find in my tired brain the idea of the blade going in the holes of the goalie's mask, because that could kind of motivate that kind of idea. But yeah, I completely agree with you. I don't like that take, but that's what they are. Takes are takes.
Yeah, no, and like I said, like, again, an opinion, everybody's entitled to an opinion, and I'll, my attitude generally is to, like, hear it out, respect it, and if necessary, explain to you why you're wrong. Or have a conversation where the result may or may not be me being correct, whatever. But that, to me, is just it's so black and white, that rule, right? it's just not a penalty. So the last thing I wanted to wrap up with, we actually went through this a lot faster than I thought we were going to go through this, which is good for me, because I have it's 12:28 a.m. time of recording. I have a 9 a.m. start tomorrow and an 11 p.m. finish, because of course I do. Why not? So the earlier I can get to bed, the better. Not that I would choose anything but doing this podcast with you.
Wait. There's nothing you choose over this? I love you, man, and I love this podcast, but there's things I would choose over this.
I'm trying to think how to phrase this.
Yeah. There's you things, gotta rephrase that.
There's things I would like. There's things I'd rather be doing, in over the course of a general week. This is close to, if not my top highlight, recording it and then it coming out and listening to how we sounded and everything. The being excited on Saturday to record on Sunday, recording on Sunday, and then listening to it over Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is a very, very much a bright spot. That's what I'll say.
I like that. That's better, because, I'd really enjoy, like, a week on Mykonos, just basking in the sun and laughing about nothing for hours.
Well, and I've only been in Red Deer for 4 months. I think part of it for me too is just, like, I can't even imagine that being a fathomable possibility in my life right now. Just like,
well, hey, it's gray here too. It's gray.
Oh man, I came back for Christmas and I couldn't drive anywhere. Like, are you kidding me? Like, what happened? Like,
oh, we haven't even mentioned that I almost didn't even make it home for Christmas.
Yeah, right.
I had to write the story that said the ferry that I needed to take home in the morning was canceled.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a life,
Anyhow,
man. What a life.
listen, I got back, you got back. We're both okay. And maybe your apartment might not be okay, but we'll have an update on that next week. So my thinking was we were going to give each other World Junior trivia. Do you have any questions prepared for me?
I have one locked and loaded. I have to find the note. You go first.
Okay, so I have 3 for you. They're all the same vein. They are who am I? So I'm going to describe a World Junior player. My initial thinking, I think I told you before the podcast, pick something from the last 15 years. I kind of started to. All of mine are actually 2015 or more recent than that. So I'm going to start at the oldest one, which is 2015. So this is the 3 pieces of information you need. You can ask me a question if you want, and I will respond in kind if you need more information. But this is the 3 major things I had that I wanted you to try and get the player on. So this player captained a stacked 2015 Canadian World Junior team to gold. Despite only finishing 5th in team scoring, he finished 6th in tournament scoring. And this player's line carried Canada through the semifinal. They scored a combined 9 points in that game, and one of this player's line mates famously scored a hat trick in that game. Bonus point if you can tell me the line mate. Okay, so here's your 3 major points for the first player. This player captained a stacked 2015 Canadian World Junior team to gold. Despite finishing only 5th in team scoring, this player finished 6th in tournament scoring. Canada had 5 of the top 6 scores. This player's line carried Canada through their semifinal. They scored a combined 9 points in that game. One of this player's line mates famously scored a hat trick in that game, and a bonus point if you can tell me who the line mate was.
Why am I feeling Curtis Lazar? Is it Curtis Lazar?
Bang on. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
Curtis Lazar was the captain.
Was the line mate Anthony Duclair?
No, it was Nick Petan.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, Duclair, Domi, and Reinhardt was the first line, and then Petan, Lazar, and McDavid was the second line. McDavid and Lazar
Duclair
had 3.
had a crazy game as well that tournament, and that's what threw me off.
The gold medal game, that first line, Domi, Reinhardt, and Duclair all scored in that game. Duclair scored 23 seconds in. That was an insane game. Okay, so your next player, I'm not going to give you the year for this one because I think you'll get it without it, and it will be too obvious with it, but I can if you need it. So, despite playing on a team with numerous players who have since surpassed him in skill level, including numerous NHL All-Stars, this player was his team and his tournament's top scorer in this tournament en route to a gold medal, and he won tournament MVP. In the gold medal game of this tournament, this player had 2 assists, which with each of his 2 line mates scoring once each, and him and his line mates made up the top 3 point scorers of the tournament. Now, the error hint you get is that I said I was going to start with 2015, so it is after 2015.
Oh, okay, that helps a bit. Okay, that helps a bit.
But I know I didn't give you the team or the year, so I can give you both. The team, you'll get it. The team, you should get it right away. The year will help, I think.
Okay. I want it was a European team.
Yes. So just to recount, best player on his team, even though many of his teammates have since surpassed him, was the top scorer and tournament MVP of both the tournament and his team. 2 assists in the gold medal game, and the 3 players on his line went 1, 2, 3 in tournament scoring.
Was it Finland?
Yes.
Jesse Puljujärvi.
Yes.
Bang.
Bonus points, other 2 line mates.
Sebastian Aho?
Yep. Mikko Rantanen, Rupe Hintz, and Kasperi Kapanen made up the second line of that team, which is insane.
I kept thinking Rantanen, and I was like, that's not the line. That's not the line.
Yeah. Rantanen was the captain, and that was an insane team.
Oh, dude, that one was fairly hard.
Okay, this is the most obscure one, but it's also the most recent, and the tournament was the Vancouver tournament.
Okay.
So this player is the 2019 World Junior MVP. He finished tied for 3rd in the tournament in points and scored 3 goals and 4 points in 1 game during this tournament, but that was a loss for his team.
Whoa.
Extra hint, That 3-goal and 4-point performance erased a 4-0 deficit in that game.
This team did not win the gold medal.
They did not.
This was the this is 2018.
Well, 2019 World Juniors.
2019 World Juniors,
yeah.
the 18-19 season. Because I'm trying to remember where I was at the time. I believe I was sitting on my couch and my friend Caleb was cooking a frozen pizza.
Sure.
And this is also the holiday season where we made horribly attempted Jello shots. They're awful and soupy. This World Juniors featured Capo Caco and Jack Hughes, and one of the players is that. No, I don't have it then if it's not Caco or Hughes. I kept thinking it was Hughes.
Ryan Poehling.
Oh,
against Sweden, he had a natural hat trick and an assist to drag them back. Sweden eventually won that game in overtime. They lost to Finland in the gold medal game in Vancouver. The other thing I had written down, interesting fact, Ryan Poehling managed to win tournament MVP, finish third in scoring, and win a silver medal. He did not have a single point in the medal round. All 8 of his points were in the group. So bizarre choice for MVP, in my opinion. I thought Alexei Heponiemi deserved it from the start.
and
but
didn't he also have a natural hat trick for the Habs at the end of that season in a last game call up?
He did. So he had one NHL game that season, had 3 goals, and I don't think he's ever scored 3 goals in an NHL season since, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not 100% sure on that.
He might have 3 goals this season.
Does he? Good for him. But the heights he achieved in that year have never been sniffed by him.
And Aidan, that's why we love the World Juniors, because for some of these players, it's the biggest moments they will ever have in their lives, and it's freaking phenomenal.
Anything for me, sir, to wrap up?
All right, Aidan, I've got one for you too, because it would just be rude for me not to. And admittedly, I did totally flub what it was, and I had to do research on what question I was asking you beforehand. And I want to use this question to dial it back to one of the most awesome moments in World Junior history. The 2009 World Junior Hockey Championship. Canada's final against Russia.
So you're giving me a question from something that happened when I was 7 years old, hey?
Yep.
Okay.
But you are totally familiar with the event.
Dude, not even 7.
In that semifinal against Russia, Jordan Eberle scores an iconic goal. Iconic. That goal is forever to be replayed in World Juniors going forward whenever Canada is being successful. All right, so when that goal was scored, Canada's goalie was pulled. And there were a couple of important players on the ice, and it led to a final that was won that defined a very special moment in Canadian hockey history. So I'm going to ask you 3 questions. It's a 3-pointer. Okay?
Is it all on the
get all 3 points? This is the scenario. I gave you the scenario.
Okay, all in the 2009 tournament, specifically the semifinal.
All specifically on this game, yeah.
Okay, sure.
All right, so Canada was playing Russia, and this is the easy one to start. Because this goal was scored, they got to the finals. How many gold medals had Canada consecutively won as a result in 2009 because of Eberle's performance and what got them there?
5.
All right, the drive for 5. Awesome, you got that. All right, next up. Who was the goalie that Canada pulled so Eberle could go score that goal?
This is tougher. I am close to 100% sure this goalie played in this game. However, it was a 6-5 final, so I don't know if this goalie got pulled, but I'm going to go Dustin Tokarski.
Bingo. Okay, now the hard one. They were playing Russia in 2009. Who was Russia's World Junior team's leading scorer in that tournament?
Nikita Filatov.
Bang! Damn, you're good. See, I knew this wasn't going to be that hard for you. You were worried. You were like, oh no, I was 6. No, you were great. You're so familiar with this moment. You spent as much time on YouTube, Wikipedia, whatever as I have. You're good.
Speaking of YouTube, just quickly before we wrap up, if you have come here and found the podcast from the Canada Owns Hockey YouTube page, you're awesome. Thanks for actually going off of what happened in, or what was said at the end of those videos or in the captions of the videos, and taking the chance on James and I. I'm Aidan. I am the one that has run that Canada Owns Hockey YouTube channel for like 6-7 years now. It's always just been a side passion project thing. And recently, James, I had been putting at the end of the videos like, hey, come listen to our podcast. So if you are here from the YouTube channel, you're amazing. Thank you so much. Just wanted to throw that out there. And James, it is the work I've always done around World Junior season for that YouTube channel that would help me out for a question like that. And again, it's not pure recollection that I recall those facts. The drive for 5 was the walk in the park. But thank you for that. I enjoyed that question. Well done.
Awesome. And Aidan, I love that shameless plug you threw on that YouTube channel. That's awesome. You did great there, because who knows, maybe you added 1, 2, maybe 5 listeners, maybe 10. That could be awesome. I'd love that. And
we added 10,
that just means more people can enjoy.
But honestly, if we added 10 listeners to this episode, you know what I want those 10 listeners to do? Go listen to Moeller and Brandes in the last 2 episodes, because I cannot stress enough how much I love doing those interviews, and just listen to it. They're amazing.
Another plug.
Yeah, that's probably where I'm going to end off.
All right, Aidan, if you've got nothing more to say, I'm pretty gassed. I think the only other thing I have to say is, if you're listening, be careful with washing machines. They will destroy your apartment. I will leave that without very much context at all. If you're one of my close friends, you already know. It's absolutely hilarious, and I will not divulge any further. And
does your room, sorry, quickly. Does your roommate listen to these episodes?
No.
Okay, so this isn't
in Mexico and doesn't know that this happened.
Okay, so this isn't how you're breaking the news to him. I just wanted to make sure of that. Okay, We're good. Thank you for listening.
If this is the one of our episodes that he's listened to, then I'm toast. But without further ado, our producer Gareth Baird, let's roll that outro.